Alright, so the story goes like this.
This should be the biggest and worst hill of them.
Bloody Nissans, mate. Just have it straight down.
High in it.
I pulled out and it went over hot on the gauge.
So you rolled him all the way down the track?
Yeah, oh, no, not, yeah. So pretty much was at a mate's place, leaving in the morning the next day and took off. I already had the car idling for about 20 minutes, and even when I got in it, I sort of like, the heater wasn't really working well, but I sort of didn't think anything of it. So I was like, oh well. Anyway, drove about 200 meters up the road and the temp gauge just went like over hot, maxed out completely. So I like pulled over straight away, had a look in the engine bay, and I thought I could see coolant. And so I was like, shit, something's like a water pump or something, because I already looked at all the hoses and everything and I couldn't see any hoses blown off or any leaks from there. And the water had all cooked itself, undid the radiator cap, boiling radiator fluid squirted everywhere. Anyway, flat towed it home through King Lake just with Snapchat, brought it down the mountain, put it on a trailer like you've seen, and got home.
Thank you for calling Patrolapart and Navarapart. Kindly note, all calls are recorded for training and quality purposes. Thanks for waiting. You might be surprised. Patrolapart, can I help you there?
Hey, how you going? I'm just wondering if you've got a water pump for a GQ TD42.
Absolutely, definitely. Cool, mate.
Awesome.
There's plenty of stock there, all good.
Plenty. Cheers. Thanks, mate.
Thanks, mate.
See ya. Big shout out to everyone buying stickers. Means a lot. It's helps more than you think. Got some great weather today, don't we? Now, if you live in the northeastern suburbs, you're probably well aware of this place. This is the industrial park in Lilydale, where you can just about find anything for your car. You drive in this place and it is car mania. You're seeing four-wheel drives, you're seeing street cars, everything is here. Oh, the 80 series. And we come to Patrolapart. All right, water pump collected. Alrighty, so it's the next day, and today we're going to actually replace the water pump, which we believe is the issue for the Kia TD42 cooking.
Yeah, so got a new gasket. So I ran the car, and I can see underneath where the water pump is, there's coolant dripping out. I think it's just the gasket, but we're going to replace the whole thing anyway, because it's probably done 500,000 Ks. I'd say it's
well, that's probably right. So we got to take off the fan shroud, all the belts.
Yeah, we'll take off the shroud, then we'll take off the fan, viscous hub, all the belts, and then yeah, we should be able to get into it pretty easily.
All right, so let's get into it.
All right, so before we do anything else, I am going to drain the coolant system from the radiator and from the back of the block. TD42s have a coolant drain for all the water lines in the block on the back, so we'll undo that. So that's the coolant system drain. So now we can start. To get the shroud off was actually a bit of a pain in the ass. There were just the two easy bolts up top, now three underneath. These two are pretty hard to get to. This one I had to take the intake off to get to. But now we should. Oh, there you go. Oh, thank God. Alright, sick. So next step we'll take off the fan.
So we're just taking off the fan to get to the water pump. So Liam's just undone the 4 bolts for that now.
Yeah. There you go. Alright, there's our fan. And now we should have easy access to everything else. Alright, so to take off the belts, you just got to loosen the pulleys on the power steering and then also the alternator, so that way we can take this off. So we're just going to loosen these off. Once that's loosened, this little one up here, that like pushes that back and forth, so that's like your tensioner on the pulley. And then that'll come off there, that'll come off there. Bullseye. Alright, so yeah, for the belt that goes to the alternator, it's pretty much the same process. There's a little nut on top there. And then there's also underneath, like the axis that it pivots on, there's nuts either side that you have to hold onto and undo them so you can push it in. So much easier to take bolts off when there's not a fan in the way. Alright, so last thing we're going to take off is the viscous hub, and then this whole assembly should come off and the water pump should be exposed. Alright, so there is our viscous hub and our pulley. Pretty much the way your viscous hub works, from what I know, is when it's cold, it can spin like so. So obviously, like when your car's cold, you don't want the fan to be running because you want your car to be able to warm up. So the fan won't actually spin, this will spin instead. But then when it heats up and your car's hot and this is hot, this will grab and it will turn as one, so that way your fan will run, keep your car cool. All right, moment of truth. Oh, that's right, you need to give it a knock with a hammer. Yeah, it's coming. What gasket? There's the gasket, or this, what's left of it.
It's just deteriorated completely.
Yeah, that's it there. That's the gasket.
Yeah, so that's
non-existent.
non-existent.
Yeah, obviously the reason why it's failed, I mean, as you can see, that's what's left of the gasket, and like, obviously the gasket's meant, they are like only paper, but obviously the gasket's meant to be like that. And this is probably like the original water pump and gasket, I would say. So 24 years, 520,000 Ks on it. So it probably has to fail at some point. I mean, you could probably clean up the face, put a new gasket on and chuck it back in. But I was just like, stuff, I'll just get a new water pump, because I didn't know if it was just the gasket that had failed. So put a new one in, and should be all good. Pretty simple in the way it works. Sort of looks like a turbo. So you got your pulley on the back, this turns this. Inside, that turns this. Water comes in, and the water just winds up and then gets pressured out that back face, which is open. So yeah, pretty self-explanatory. So there's still a little bit of the gasket stuck to there. So yeah, I'll have to clean that all up. Alright, so as you can see, here's our new water pump compared to the old. So exactly the same, or they should be. The fins look slightly different, but TD42 replacement pump, so should fit up perfectly and should just do the same thing as the other one. Get on that way. Just to make sure we don't get any problems in the future, I'm just putting on some anti-seize. Alright, so it is the next day. You might notice, got different clothes on. Pretty much, we didn't have this for the torque wrench, so we couldn't torque them to spec. So for the bolts, just going by the book, it is 20 foot-pound, and for the nuts, it is 40. So just got the torque wrench set to 20. Alright, so as you can see on the new water pump, I didn't even notice until now, but this doesn't have any of the studs in it, like this one has. So pretty much to remove these studs, because they don't have like a head on them or anything, you just use double nut system. So you screw one nut on, screw the other one on top of it, and then you wind the bottom nut in reverse, and it locks up against this one, but it can't unscrew off because this nut's in the way. Alright, so now we're just putting the studs into their new homes. Now we can do the thing. So this one goes on like so, that's better. That goes on like so. Alright, now we can do our little nuts. Just tighten. Alright, now before we put the fan on, belts. What I've read in the manual, tension on belts across a long distance, sort of like this is, it should just be like 6 mil or something up and down, like when you press on it firmly with your thumb. Alright, ready?
Keep going.
Yep.
So, power steering.
Yes, this goes on there. This one is a very easy one to do. Use a shifter to turn it on, like so. So then I just have to tighten that up. Alright, so belts are on. Next step, fan. And then once the fan's on, we can put the shroud on, then put coolant in. Alright, that'll do, it's not going to fall off. Last bit is the shroud. Bits left over. Alright, there you go. Oakley dokley. Now, look how that slides on. It's not waterproof.
No.
At all.
Not at all.
That's fine. Alright, now we can fill it with coolant. Alright, so we've put a bit of water in. Gonna put this in and then we'll fill the rest up with water. We'll fill it up until it's full here, then we'll run the car with the heater on and then top it up as we need. So we filled the radiator up to full when it's not running, so now run the car and it should circulate the water, bring out any air bubbles, and we'll be able to keep topping it up as we need. Alright. A lot of smoke come out the back there.
Yeah, keep going. Alright, leave it at that, leave it at that.
Still a few air bubbles coming out. Anyway, we'll take it for a drive, we'll see what happens. Hopefully it doesn't climb up to 1,000,000 degrees. Otherwise, it's not the water pump, it's something else. that's good. The temp gauge is staying cool so far, so we've obviously fixed the first issue. Good enough for me. Look how quickly it accelerates downhill.
Loves it down the hill. Loves it.
Yeah. No, it seems alright. So we'll drive home, check everything, and after that we should be right. Alright. Can't see any leaks. Alright, so that was fixing my boilie boy. Fixing the kettle.
Fixing the kettle.
Yeah, I'm not a mechanic, but if you needed to replace your water pump, you could watch this video and you'd be able to do it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So
just have a workshop manual for the right torque specifications.
Yep.
And you're laughing.
Yeah, so if you want to see me break my car and fix it more, make sure you give us a like, subscribe, comment below, do whatever you want. Get yourself a sticker.
AussieArvos.com.au.
$5.
$5, free shipping Australia wide.
And we'll see you in the next Arvo.